Mr. Alan Pigeon AM, Chair of the National Flag Association and President of the National Queensland Flag Association. To the ACT Young Australian of the Year, Daniel Bartholomews. The School of the Year, Broken Hill and Hay on teams, and all of the students from Engadine West Public School in the electorate of Hughes, and of course Hughes Primary School as well. Well, today we are celebrating my absolute favourite day of the year, and it's a double celebration because it is National Wattle Day as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about National Wattle Day in a moment. Two great symbols for our nation. Now, since I was elected and had the privilege of being the 32nd Speaker of the House of Representatives, I've made it my mission to make sure that more Australians learn about our symbols and learn about particularly our Parliament. And welcoming students and people from across Australia is the best part of my job. 1 million people walk through those front doors each year, the most visited building in our nation. Now, Flag Day is very special because we bring the iconic flag down, which flies above our nation's Parliament, and we have it on display for everyone to come up and see the flag for themselves. The national flag is our most recognised national symbol. It flies above our nation's Parliament 365 days a year, 7 days a week. It's a symbol of our unity, our identity and pride. And just like National Wattle Day, which recognises Australia's unity and resilience, National Flag Day was officially declared as a national day in 1996 to commemorate the first time the flag was flown. This year is 124 years. We know the flag was raised on the Royal Exhibition Building in Melbourne, home to our federal government at the time. So I want to tell you a little bit about the flag competition. In 1901, the Federation, the new Commonwealth government, held a competition. Now, the students in front of me, I'd like you to tell me and put up your hands and take a guess, how many entries do you think there was where people designed a new flag for our country? How many do you think there could be? A couple of hundred? Who wants to take a guess? Yep. 10,000, a little bit more than that. What about over here in the second row? Yeah. 20,000, getting close. There were 30,000 entries. Now, designs came from all over the world, in featuring everything from a Union Jack and the Southern Cross to a flag with a kangaroo with 6 tails and a kangaroo with a shotgun. Now, they didn't make it through to the final selection. However, I was so pleased that the winners received a prize money of around £200, and the winners were students who won the competition. So the flag we know today is the one behind me, a dark blue background, the Union Jack representing our historical ties to Britain, the Commonwealth star with 6 points for the states, later updated to 7 in 1908 to include the territories, and the Southern Cross symbolising our place in the Southern Hemisphere. This is the design that has flown throughout our country for the last 124 years. It's 12.8 metres and by 6.4 metres high, and it's about the same size as a double-decker bus. And the flag is changed once a month, and there are 2 staff members whose job it is to, when it's safe, travel all the way up the steel flag mast, the largest stainless steel construction in the Southern Hemisphere, which is 81 metres tall. Now, last year, boys and girls, I announced a new roadshow for the flag to hit the road and visit schools across Australia. And you'll see some of the photographs on the screens. Now, this is part of my broader civics program aimed at helping young Australians connect with our democracy and understand the importance of our symbol. Now, so far, the flag has hit the road and travelled with me around the country, and around 3,500 young Australians across Queensland, New South Wales and South Australia have already seen the flag up close. Now, another question for the students. What's the most important thing about the flag? It can go on a flag mast, it can be waved around, but it can never... The stars, but what it can't do something. It can never... Yeah, but when you've got the flag, what happens? It can do all the things, but it can never... Yeah? Yeah? It can never touch the ground. That's exactly right, to show our respect for the flag. So I'm so glad that everyone has come along today. I'm so glad that all Australians are proud of their flag. And now it's my great privilege to invite Assistant Minister Pat Gorman to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much for bringing us together to celebrate National Flag Day. I think we are so fortunate that you have really elevated the way that we share and celebrate National Flag Day and our national symbols, and for that I want to say a special thank you. I too begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples, and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. In addition to the Speaker, I also want to acknowledge my fellow parliamentarians, and thank you all who are wearing your Wattle Day badges as well. Mr Alan Pidgeon, Chair of the Australian National Flag Association, Jarla Hinchcliffe, as Secretary of the Department of Parliamentary Services. One of the jobs of the Department of Parliamentary Services is to make sure that that flag gets to the top of the building and is repaired where needs to be done. So thank you to your team for doing that important work. I think some of that team who look after the flag on this building are in the room right now, so I also want to acknowledge their important contribution. If I can acknowledge the choir from Hughes Primary, that was fantastic students, thank you so much. Equally acknowledge the students from Engadine West who are with us today, ACT Young Australian of the Year Daniel Bartholomew's, and the students from School of the Air who are joining us virtually. If I can say a very happy Wattle Day and very happy Flag Day to all. I have the joy of being the Minister responsible for the Flags Act of 1953. And there's one thing that I really love about the Flags Act of 1953 that makes it different from any other act of the Parliament. It's the only piece of legislation that actually has a drawing in it. It has a drawing that represents how the flag must be prepared, so that wherever it is produced, whether it's an Australian-made flag here or the ones that are printed at Carroll and Richardson Flag World in Melbourne, it's always produced exactly the same dimensions. And this year's Flag Day carries special significance is because it was 125 years ago that we sent a group of Australians to London. They couldn't fly on the direct flight. They had to go on a ship. It took them a few weeks, and they presented the draft Constitution of Australia. Now, there was one thing that wasn't in that Constitution, and that was, as the Speaker alluded to, a flag. It was decided that not until Australia had properly federated could we go through the process of deciding a flag for ourselves under our own process. And of course, it was a very Australian solution to choose to make it an open competition where anyone could send in their designs. But what we saw in the flag that was eventually chosen were some very common themes across many of those designs. It's a flag that really does tell our story. The cross showing our recent history, the seven-pointed star representing the states and the territories, and the Southern Cross, a cross under which Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people lived for more than 65,000 years. And in the 125 years since those Australians travelled to deliver that constitution to create the nation we now call Australia, more than 500,000 Australians have served under this flag at home and abroad, in wartime and in peacetime, always representing our proud nation. Now, it is also a symbol that welcomes so many to this land. Some 1 in 3 Australians were born overseas, and almost half have parents born overseas. And every year, new citizens pledge their loyalty in front of this flag, a reminder that this flag belongs to us all, regardless of where our story began. Whether it's in the dust of a country schoolyard, the bustle of our cities, or behind a computer screen, the flag unites every Australian from every walk of life. I also want to acknowledge that it sits alongside, protected under that Flags Act of 1953, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags, proud symbols of survival, identity and unity. Together, these three flags reflect our recent history and point to a shared future. On this National Flag Day, I think we can all acknowledge that it is much more than a flag. It's a reflection of not just the country we are, but the country we aspire to be. Happy National Flag Day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Assistant Minister Gorman. I'd now like to introduce Alan Pidgeon to come and speak to us.
Thank you very much, and it's a great pleasure to be here. Great timing. Is that a division bell? Mr. Speaker, if you do get called away, I just want to say thank you so much. This event gets bigger and better every year, and to have the students from the School of the Air beamed in is just fabulous as well. So thank you so much for all you do to promote our flag, and your initiative of taking the flag out to the people is fabulous as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Speaker said, we're celebrating a significant birthday, 124 years. I don't think any of you would have been to a 124-year-old celebration. Next year, very big, 125 years for our flag. But as was pointed out by the other speakers, our flag is unique because it was the first flag ever chosen in an open public design competition where every person was asked to have a go in designing a symbol for the nation. And as is pointed out, 1% of the Australian population in 1901 put in entries. And it took a lot more effort than just clicking like on your computer. You had to do the design and submit it. And as has been pointed out, on September 3, 1901, all the winning entries had been assessed. It took 8 weeks to judge them. And the winning entry was a run up the top of the Royal Exhibition Building in Melbourne flagpole. And there were 5 people who tied for the honour of designing our flag because their designs were so similar. And one of those 5 is quite significant. I don't think any of you children here would be 14 years old yet. Do any of you have a 14-year-old brother or sister? Okay. Well, when you go home, you can say to them that someone their age was the designer of our flag, because the most famous of the 5 winners was Ivor Evans, who's a 14-year-old schoolboy from Melbourne. And so he was one of the people who shared in that honour of winning the world's first ever flag design competition. As has been pointed out, our flag says so much about us, not only in the way it was chosen, the Australian ethos of have a go, let everybody be part of the process of designing our national symbol, but also in the elements, as has been pointed out, that represent all of us as we face our future together. The flag has flown and represented our country in good times and in bad, in prosperity and in hardship. And it does have a significance, as has been pointed out, with the Southern Cross being highly used in Aboriginal mythology. So it speaks to those Australians who, as has been pointed out, have 65,000 years of history here in this continent. But the important thing about the flag is the Federation Star, that is our future together as Australians united. And it is important that we acknowledge the history of our flag. Unfortunately, very few people know the story of the world's first ever flag design competition. In other countries, it would be part of national folklore, and the name of the 5 winners would be household identities. So with the Speaker's help and his fantastic initiatives, not only here today, but also with the flag taken out to the community, we're trying to spread the story of Australia's flag. It is such an inspiring and unique story. It is a flag that we celebrate. And as a week of celebrations, we started at Ipswich Central State School last week, and we've been going around the nation, and we've culminated on Wednesday, which is the actual anniversary itself. So happy Australian National Flag Day. Please take the chance to spread the word. To learn more about our flag, australianflag.net.au has a wealth of information if you want to learn more. But please tell Australians what a unique flag we have and how we should be celebrating it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our official proceedings for this morning. I'd like to invite any senators or members who are here with us to come up and have a photo at the flag with our distinguished guests this morning. I'd also like